Welcome in, everybody. This is the MLB DFS Early Lock Show, brought to you by Win Daily Sports at Win Daily Sports, WinDailySports.com. It's Tony. It's Adam. You've been with us all week. You're going to be with us again for another week. Adam, we got 6 good games on the late slate tomorrow. I know we've been ramping up. You've been on fire, man. The pitching has been unbelievable. Lot of good props coming your way. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of props right now because the market isn't set yet, so we'll have more of them on Discord. Make sure you're following the article that drops, not just one article. Adam writes a tremendous article, what he calls strategy, about pitchers. We got stacks by Jarrett. We got Dave writing props. All kinds of MLB content. So make sure WinDailySports.com, you check them out. But Adam, what's your feeling going into today? Thursdays can kind of be weird every now and then.
Yeah, it's not the biggest slate. We've kind of been dealing with a lot of split slates and things like that. First, week and a half or so in MLB, you tend to get that teams have home openers, that whole thing. But yeah, I think we've been doing pretty well, pitching pretty happy with the results so far. We were over the field on Kershaw today. That was quite useful. I've been sitting out a lot of props until we kind of get a feel for it, ramping them up over the past couple of days, 9 and 5 in the past 2. So we'll take that every 2 days. Then this 6-game slate, man, somebody at DraftKings has to learn how to price Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher. Dude, it's been a year now. It's been a year plus. Can we figure this out so it's not I love it because every 6th day I just click on Ohtani and I continue building lineups because that's what you have to do. He's 7,900 again. I don't know if it's something with their algorithm that he started off very poorly at the plate this year. Dude, that's great, but he went out and he struck out 9 Astros on 80 pitches his first start. You have to account for that. You have to adjust. And to their credit, FanDuel, he's 10-8. He's exactly where he should be over there, where you at least have to start making decisions. Okay, am I gonna pitch Ohtani or do I go to a different pitcher? On DraftKings, it's literally one of the first people in for me. Even before I start building my stacks and start playing around with that, Ohtani, 7,900. Texas hasn't been striking out a lot yet this season. Yeah, they have, they're going to have some lefties in their lineup, usually about 5, and it's kind of been a bit of, do I really care that much when somebody this talented is this underpriced? These aren't warning flags that are going to hold me back.
Nah. Well, here's the thing, too, just for, everybody listening. You have to look at it realistically too. Now, obviously, Walker Buehler deserves to be, number one. He's 9,700. I get that, but Charlie Morton's 9,300. Kevin Gauss was 8,500. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this and going, okay, Ohtani at 7,900. Is Charlie Morton? Is the odds are that Morton's going to give me more than Ohtani? Probably not.
And Ohtani outscored him the first game, and Morton pitched well. But Morton generally has some sort of a ceiling where those strikeouts are, where Ohtani doesn't have that same ceiling. Those ceilings are very different.
That's crazy. And that's $2,300 to put back in your bankroll, man, to build the rest of your lineup. That's, it's funny because we consistently sit here with the 2 aces and we always say, more likely than not, one of your aces is going to be in that upper echelon of 98 to 10-2, 10-5, depending, on the slate. And you're always looking for that guy who's between maybe 58 to 65 that, you could get some good bats, but and then you look and you're like, oh, I could spend $800 more and get Ohtani for
right. It's not that big of a difference at that point. That's you can make that up with batting orders and other things like that, really easily. And even today, we're going to get into it a little bit here, but we have a Coors Field game, so we have 2 very average lefties on the mound for each team. We're going to want exposure to those bats. Once again, DK just not really pricing things accurately. The Colorado Rockies in home, and you're looking at the most expensive guys, 4,500. The Cubbies in Coors, their most expensive guy, I think, is 5. It's 51 for Frank Schwindel. But a guy like Suzuki, who has come over and just, completely looked the part of a major league hitter, he's 4,800.
Yep. Chris Bryant,
44. These guys are so affordable with really good pitching tonight. You can almost already see the cash builds kind of playing themselves. So, we talked about Ohtani. I think they're going to be paired with either Morton or Buehler up top for the cash games. I will say I haven't quite got to it yet in the rotation because I was watching AEW for most of the night. My attention
Oh
was
yeah,
elsewhere. But when
Joe's
I
gonna kill you. Joe's gonna kill you.
and he did. Those two beat the hell out of each other. But like when I look at Kevin Gossman just right off the hop, I can already see like I'm gonna have interest in him as a pivot in GPP because the Yankees, the Yankees lineup is obviously dangerous, but they strike out a good bit. He's coming off a bad start. He's in that weird price range between Otani, between the two, better pitchers. I don't think he's going to get looked at a lot, and I think he's going to be under-owned compared to probably what he should be on this small slate. With really after Joe Musgrove, the pitching kind of drops off in a pretty quick hurry.
Yeah, it does. And it's a good point about Gosman because hey, he's another guy. He's a flamethrower. He throws a lot of heat and he has some really good movement. You've seen him in San Francisco last year. He really he created his own market by signing that 1 year,
Yeah,
$18.5 million deal, right? To get the money that he is now from Toronto. So when you look at that, you go 8,500 for Gosman or 9,700 for Walker Bueller. Again, 9,300 for Morton or 8,500 from Gausman. So I mean, you're talking Gausman and Otani. If you start off with Gausman and Otani, just hypothetically speaking, I mean, you're talking two guys that you're getting at 16 grand. I don't
yeah,
really think that you can go wrong there.
and they could easily walk out there and K 16, maybe even 18 guys. Like when that splitter's working for Gosman, buddy, he is just absolutely lethal. And like I said, I haven't really seen, maybe it just wasn't on this past start. I don't know why it was kind of an average start for him, but I know I'm going to be interested because the salary just does not match what he is on paper. And even just looking at a couple surface stats, he had a 246 xFIP from that one start. The BABIP was 471, which led to the strain rate being under 63%. Like, just right off the bat, before looking at anything else, it tells me he had a lot of bad luck in that start. And then you scroll down, he produced a 20% swinging strike rate. Buddy, that's
That's
immense for the first start of the season.
that's
His
not
stuff
too
was
shabby.
working.
Yep.
His stuff was working to an extent. Sometimes you're going to get starts like that where the pitchers get results that don't necessarily reflect how well they pitch. I'm definitely going to be in on some Gossman in GPP here.
Listen, I agree, obviously, because and again, listen, it's early. People like, the guy had one start, like
Right,
from a glorified spring training. Like everybody needs
right.
to just pump the brakes a little bit and give these guys a couple starts to get acclimated. They're essentially every single starter is on a pitch count right now. It's just what it is. You see, listen, you see Kershaw get removed from a perfect game today, right? I mean,
Yeah.
these guys are on pitch counts because it's the long game. It's 162 game season. So that's one thing. But the swing and miss 20%, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's eye popping right off the hop. And like he didn't walk a
Yes.
guy, you know what I mean? Like those 8 hits, man, it just seems like a lot of them were just really bad luck. Like I'm definitely going to be right back in with Gosman.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I like I said, I really liked what he did last year. I'm glad he got paid this year and kind of revitalized himself. And he's a very good under the radar pitcher, man. I
Yeah.
could tell you that. So let's go to one of our favorites. We talk about, we got our little wild thing, we got our little gas can segment where we talk about a guy that you can kind of tee off on. And you're gonna go with the Yankees pitcher here. Lou Severino. Why we going Yankees pitcher here?
Yeah, so a lot of it just it has to do with the Toronto Blue Jays lineup. I don't really think Vlad Guerrero is going to hit 3 home runs again. Maybe he does. He's Vlad Guerrero. He does what he wants.
Yeah.
But like when you're when you're looking at Severino, this is a guy that has now pitched a grand total of 24 innings since the start of 2019 at the major league level. He's had a lot of injuries, a lot of setbacks, rehabbing from the injuries. It's been kind of sucky to see because like the last time we really saw him on the mound for 2 straight years of 190 plus innings, he was a really good pitcher.
Yep.
I'm just not convinced he's there yet. He only went 3 innings in this first start. Didn't look anything spectacular. 2 earned, 5 hits allowed. He did strike out 5 hitters. Like that part of it was good. But you're telling me that a guy that just has not pitched very much these past couple seasons now has to go deal with, the Toronto lineup, and he only got an 8% swinging strike rate. I don't know, man. That's a tough ask. And I know that, again, we're going to have a lot of chalk on this slate. So the Toronto Bats these past couple of nights have been very low owned. And they haven't really done anything outside of Vlad to make it different. I bet they're low owned again today. So, yeah, I'll be playing plenty of the stacks we're going to talk about here in a minute. You better believe I'm going to have some Toronto offense in addition to Kevin Gausman tonight.
Yeah, listen, you made a good point about Toronto. Listen, first of all, we talked about in the preseason how deadly this lineup was, and 1 through 9. I mean, whether they're starting off slow or not, these guys are absolutely deadly. But some of these prices to me are really, really low for these bats, like you mentioned. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people jumping in on them. I mean, you're talking about getting guys just because they're at a slow start right now, that their number is just dropping convincingly. So you really have to look at that when you're building. I mean, listen, I know Matt Chapman's not, a stud bat. He's starting off slow. And this is a guy that's essentially, I may overstep here, but he's a guy that you're going to normally see between 42 and 4,500. And now he's at 3,700 and continuing to drop. So, this is when in baseball, Adam, tell me if you agree, but I full transparency. Last year was my first full-time year of baseball. I've always done it, but I never went full-time, and I fell in love with it. But one thing I did learn is, you have to pounce on these guys as soon as they drop. And then your decision is, okay, when he goes up another grand, now I have to really think about, do I want to pay up for him now? But if you can get him in this range, man, Max Chapman for 3,700, I think is a good value.
Yeah, he is. And, not only those guys, but even, okay, let's take Vlad out of it, because Vlad's never really going to be underpriced. Like,
right.
That's just the way it is. He's never really going to dip below that, 5,500 threshold. And even then, you probably won't see him there all season long. But just moving into, like, guys like Springer, dude, he's hitting 409 to start. Like, he's doing what Toronto thought they were going to get last year when they paid for him. He had an injury plague season, didn't quite go how he wanted. Teoscar Hernandez hitting 375. These guys are 4,400, $5,000 flat. Like, the Toronto Blue Jays lineup as a whole is probably priced about $500 cheaper than they will normally be priced through the bulk of this season, outside of Vlad Guerrero.
That's a good point.
They're just too cheap, man.
They are. And I'll tell you what, just all numbers aside, my God, if I did not watch that third home run from Vlad when he was running around the bases and not have flashbacks of a Montreal Expos uniform and his dad with that, basically like the Andre Dawson batting practice helmet on, man. I mean, he looks more and more like his pop every day, man.
He really does. He absolutely does. And
close to 50, man. I'm telling you, he's gonna hit that 50 mark this year.
And especially, like, if you're a person who plays multiple lineups, because I usually go 3-5 or something like that. Toronto's an offense you want exposure to virtually every single night this season, because they're gonna win you a few slates. They're gonna be worth their weight in gold. A few of these nights, they're just gonna go bonkers, and you can't always tell when that's gonna be. Some nights you're gonna flop in amazing spots. Some nights you're gonna be like, man, they beat the hell out of this really good pitcher. That's just Toronto's offense, man. They're that good. They can handle their business against anybody. And those nights that they pot 10, 12 runs, you want to be there if you're playing multiple lineups, especially on a 6-gamer.
Yeah, 100%. And, before we get to the stack of the game, shout out to my man, Albert Pujols, hitting number 680 last night. I did not know he had 680 home runs. I knew he was over that 550, maybe. Like, I was like, 680? Wow. I mean, have you ever, not to get off base here, just real fast, because this, we did NBA preview tonight, me, you, and Ghost, and we talked about how lucky we are to watch guys in their prime when we talk about NBA. And I'll tell you what, swinging over to Major League Baseball and to be able to watch Albert, a guy who really had a clean slate when it comes to, went through the whole steroid era, never implicated in any of that talk, a guy that has just, was homegrown, just came up and just was a pure hitter, and one of those guys that could hit 330 and still hit 45 home runs. I mean, we got to watch him, Adam. I get goosebumps still now thinking about all those moments.
Yeah, and I mean, look, even as a Pirates fan,
Yep.
you know, Albert Pujols tortured us for years upon years. It just seemed like the guy never makes an out. But you still appreciate those great ones, man. And he for sure was. And I don't think there was many better Sports Center commercials of the old days than him being nicknamed the Machine, because it's just what it was. Like, this
Yeah.
guy was like a friggin' Terminator in the batter's box. Like, if you threw him anything close to like being on the plate, you're like, he's gonna lace that for a double. He's gonna get on base there. You left it over the plate, and that one's leaving the yard. It
Yep.
just seemed like you could not get away with one little mistake when he was at the plate.
Yeah. It's Brad Lidge. You know what I mean?
Well, that
That
was a pretty
shot.
big mistake.
Yeah, that shot still hasn't landed. That's one of the most enormous home runs I've ever seen, man. Oh my god, that was unbelievable.
That more or less ended Brad Lidge.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's
He was really never the same after that.
well, tell you the perfect season with us. So, but you know what I mean. So but then that was it. Then he fell apart again. So
Yeah,
it
like
really didn't matter.
he had like one great year, and then
Yep, that was
kind
it,
of about
man.
it for the most part.
I know. No, that was absolutely it. But we talked about undervalued guys with Toronto, but getting your stack on, you're talking about Coors Field and specifically some of these Colorado Rockies, man. I mean, we mentioned that you're talking about like Connor Joe has been one of the hottest hitters in the lineup, and he's 3,400. I don't know if you go by DK and you look. I mean, this guy has been in double digits 3 of the last 5, essentially 1 point off of going double digits 4 of the last 4. And Adam, his number has actually dropped. I'm not understanding this. Please help me understand.
I wish I could. We definitely already touched on it, but like Crone 45, Chris Bryant
Yep.
40. Chris Bryant, I understand maybe he not quite like the MVP candidate that he was with the Cubs. It's Chris Bryant in Coors Field, man, against a lefty. He's 4,400. I'm going to play that every time. Connor Joe 34. Even Elias Diaz, I usually play him a lot against lefties. Ask the boys who have been with me for a little while. Like, he was like an auto play for me against lefty pitching ever since he was a bucko. Now you're putting him in Coors Field. Like, okay, he's not minimum. He's not like just a drop back $2,100 punt that we used today with Austin Barnes. This is still a guy that can hit lefties for 3,400 in Coors. Like, it's still an easy way to get pieces of the stack. And then you flip the page, man. Like, I'm supposed to be scared of Kyle Freeland? No, I'm not. Like, if you want to spend up a catcher, Wilson Contreras, let me tell you something. He hit a home run ball against Pirates today. He cleared the bullpens. I don't know how many shots I've seen at PNC Park that literally has cleared the bullpens and went to the left of the batter's eye, so didn't even hit that, just went straight over. I've not seen too many go that far to that part of the park. It's not often. Suzuki, we already touched on. Like, dude, Ian Happ, 3,600, and he's been just white. He's hitting 538.
Wow.
3,600. What are we
Not getting it.
doing?
I'm not getting it.
They're not up fast enough. I know there's a thing where it's like the first game in Coors Field is usually a kind of a flop. I'm not saying I'd probably have like full lineups of this. I'd probably max out at 3 per side, and that's not gonna be like the main thing. But I'm betting for cash you need at least 4 hitters from this game.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if that's not where it ends up tomorrow.
Nah, me too. Me too.
They're way too cheap.
Way too cheap, and definitely it's going to lay claim to its reputation of being just a mile high air ball just flying out of there. Vinny Castillo days, Larry Walker days, you name it, that's going to happen at Coors Field. And we got an FFVP today as always, and a name again. We're going to go Michael Taylor here today for the Kansas City Royals. He bats 7th in the lineup. And again, it's early on, so there's not a ton to go by, for the FFVP. Because what I usually do is I'm looking at the pitchers over what they do over the last 5 or 6 starts, and looking at where how the lineups produce. And then all I got to go by is Casey, whether it's Casey Mize or Miz. I always forget. Is it Miz TV? Is it Mize TV? Whatever the case may be, right? But last game. Okay, I got one game to go on this year. Obviously, last year, he never struck fear into anybody. And the one thing I always look at is I look at hits. And he gave up 7 hits in 5 innings. So if that's the case, when I'm going FFVP, I'm keeping the number low, and I just want 7 to 10 points in DK. And if I get that, I'm golden. And this is going to be the opportunity because over the last few games, Taylor has absolutely been hitting the ball. And again, two multi-hit games out of the last 3. That's when I look at only 1 strikeout, which means he's actually putting contact on the ball. So for 2,400, Adam, I really like Michael Taylor. Now, any last watches that we should look at for this slate? And couple value guys maybe you see, or is it kind of basically is what it is at this time?
Yeah, I think it is what it is.
Seems like it.
Having said out loud the thing about first game in Coors Field, I got to do some research there to see if. I mean, listen, if that game's super chalky, which we expect, can I build a case for one of the pitchers? I kind of doubt it. But when I put together a rotation, I look at every single pitcher in the slate. They don't all make it, obviously, into the article. But I just wonder if there's maybe an avenue to really get leverage, like big MME play, something like that. I kind of don't think that's going to be the way it plays out, but I'm going to be interested to at least dive deeper into that just a little bit.
Listen, and that's why we do these things early. And as always, we do them early. It's just for tomorrow's slate, whether you're listening to it tonight, whether you're listening to it tomorrow. Obviously, we will be all over when it comes to socials. We'll be in Discord. You can get even on the YouTube page. Listen, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button and write a comment. I'll be honest with you, I do my best. Usually in there a lot on YouTube. Adam is killing it on Discord. I try to get on YouTube as much as possible. I know I was going back and forth with a few guys the other day. I enjoy the hell out of that. So if you want to do that, I'm there as well. But as always, man, thanks for tuning in. Adam, we're going to get out of here. I think we covered everything we needed to do. We gave everybody a really nice piece. Got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, man, just trying to keep the momentum going. Hopefully the books release some decent stuff. We've definitely gotten some juicy numbers. I mean, we got Vlad Guerrero for over 1.5 bases tonight at plus 120. Needless to say, that hit pretty easily. And I told the chat, if Vlad Guerrero is going to be over 1.5 bases at plus 120, it's going to be a bet I make a lot this year. Yeah, he's going to pay that off often.
I completely agree, man. I love the plus money, and when you're getting one of the elite hitters in the game at plus money on anything total basis, you got to go in, man. Especially like you said with that lineup, you have to go in.
And 100%. When they're on the road, they're guaranteed their full 9 at bats. 120 shouldn't be in play very often for that dude.
It's a beautiful thing. So. As always, at Win Daily Sports, give us a follow. You know where to find us. Make sure you're checking out for that article tomorrow. That'll drop from Adam. Make sure you drop the MLB DFS article. Drop it from Dave. You got the stacks dropping by Jared. Make sure you're also, tomorrow is day 1, right, of the RBC Heritage Open. So make sure that you're checking out. Off the Tee Sports, Better Golf Pod, PGA Draftcast. The guys see it. Spencer, Sticks, Joel. The guys do a fantastic job. Seems like we've said on before. I don't even play golf, but they help me hit. So I mean, and
I did see DK's offering like $10 back if you lose for golf this week or something.
Oh, really?
I saw a quick little banner special offer. I didn't see all the details, so don't hold me to it. If maybe if you don't get to listen to this till after the tournament starts, maybe you can use it for like a single day thing, something like that. But man, if you can take advantage of that, try it. Like there's literally no risk, and these guys are going to help you win anyway, so it's not going to matter.
No, exactly. Hey, listen, I got Gary Connors to finish in the top 10, and I hit. I couldn't even tell you what Gary Connors looks like. Just throwing it out there.
He could walk behind your camera right now. I'd be like, Tony, who's that dude behind you?
No idea. I think he worked at Walmart. Wouldn't even matter. But as always, Win Daily Sports. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you back here tomorrow night.